Hello! Hello! Welcome to another video for Wednesday and Thursdays Draw and Ramble. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure those out. But today's video is actually going to be a part 2 or part 3, depending on how you started, to the Marcus video that I made from last Wednesday. I had went a little bit behind the screen to do the quick sketches for it because, well, it just makes it a little bit easier to make the videos a little bit shorter. But yeah, and so I hope you enjoyed today's video. We're gonna go over a lot of lore, so hope you're all excited for that. So sit back, relax, and hope you enjoy. Oh, and one more thing. If you're new here, hi, my name is Leon Wolf, but you can just call me Leon for short. And you are a part of my pack now. You have no choice. Actually, you do, but I just like having packs. You can tell, I'm a big wolf girl. Anyway, on to the video. Woo! So as I said, I went behind the scenes to sketch the rest of the poses. And right here is our Marcus. Let me fix that. Yeah, he's still a work in progress, I will admit. I had just made the video for the Marcus by the time of this, but it was just too exciting and I want to continue on talking to you guys about this character. Not only that, but the lore that I promised to talk about. There is a lot to go over, and as I said, I will leave the poses, the links to the poses in the description. Of course, we get them all from Pinterest because, well, you find a lot of inspiration in Pinterest. Anyway, let us get into it. So, I said I will go over the basic concept of, or that's what I kind of said. I said I was gonna go over more of the laboratory and such. And so this is what today's video will be a little bit about. So the laboratory slash assignment place is one that most of the characters will like to avoid, but it is a big part of the, or at least what I think, it's a part of the big character creating community. You know, we like to make very interesting stories based on other inspirations. So mine are basically all inspired by a lot of gacha YouTubers and their concept details and stories, and I kind of like to incorporate that for these characters. But I have been developing this type of lore and story probably longer than I have for the professor and such. like these characters were my first ever ones. So it gets me very excited that now I get to share behind the scenes a little bit of it. I'm not gonna spoil too much of it because, well, there is a lot to try to understand and grab the ideas from. Also, I'm gonna show you again the pose I use. This one is a little bit longer, so I made it shorter for here. So, let's get into it and stop holding you guys with the lore. So, basically, for Tony's asylum / experimental region, there are different people that are pretty associated in these parts. You have the scientists, you have Tony himself as the big boss, the one in charge of all of this. Why am I making his hair like Reapers? I will admit, making hair is like the easiest and the hardest thing for me to do. I don't know why. It just is. But anyway, back to the topic. There are the experiments, the scientists, Tony the boss, the soldiers, and I believe data researchers I also put. They are basically the main roles around the asylum place. And for a special note, all of the experiments are not the same. So, for example, I probably had said this, but it's just a good reminder to put out that they're not all the same. So, like for Marcus and Hunter, Marcus will turn into the animal that he was experimented to, but you will never see clues of it unless the person decides to put a symbol that identifies that meaning for it. For example, of Addie, as shown in her hair, she has a bear paw that helps represent that she can transform into a bear and such. Meanwhile, characters like Hunter, they can show the features of the animal they are. So instead of having the gonna make the face like it's my own face. But like for those characters, they can show their features but still turn into the animal. So I feel it's a big deal to keep putting out there that they're not all the same. Especially because the biggest thing is that each experiment has a different creator, has a different boss that has different rules and such, and different systems that these certain people have done. So basically with Tony's, he tries to make his place of experiments be more more organized, I should say. For example, he places a lot of rules, time schedules, like times the experiments need to be training, times where the scientists need to grab the experiments, and so on and so forth. He also is very strict with what the experiments can do within their asylum world. Mostly because he gets afraid that every time they go out, there is a small chance that they decide they are not gonna come back. And why does that scare him? Well, one, he doesn't want any of like the FBI, the police, the military, even though it's a big question of how Marcus got here when he was in the military, but that's a question for another day. So he tries his best to keep the experiments that he's done, the things that he has done in his place. Let's see, what else is there? I'm gonna put his mask. And yes, Marcus does time to time wear a mask. He doesn't like showing his face that much. But as we all know, he has one and it's very adorable. And then the other reason is because he has tried his best to keep the experiments from knowing the truth of the outside world. Think of him like Mother Gothel, where it's like he sees so much benefit with them, like how Gothel did with Rapunzel. However, she still didn't want Rapunzel to know the truth of the world because he kidnapped them. Because she kidnapped them, just like Tony. Sorry, my mind is all over the place. Just like Tony did with these characters. And he also just wants to ensure that they can trust him because he's very big in the detail of becoming a dictator. Yeah, welcome to my little mind where it's like, how are you thinking of these at such a time? Blame that on YouTube. No, don't blame that on YouTube. Just I'm going crazy. Sorry, y'all. I think this is what happens when I get too excited with sharing information that I haven't been able to share. Let's see. What else is there to mention? Let's see. I guess we could mention I guess we could continue talking about what happened a little bit, or like how did the characters escape? I know that's going to be a interesting topic to go over about, because my characters are, not only are they the first characters to be experimented on successfully, but they are the first group of characters that are also successful on escaping Tony. Which I find that being the irony for the story, I guess, where it's like they are the first ones, but they're also the first ones to leave your messed up society. Although I feel like that's a common thing within a lot of stories. Is it? I'm not entirely certain. But let's see. So basically they had escaped through the, I believe how I make them escape was through their the pipe system. It's been a while, because with making so many stories of these, sometimes you just forget what is their actual original story that you made for them a while ago, of when they were trapped and such. But I believe the story was that they were escaping through the pipes. But the thing with this, I believe, with this story is that not everyone escaped it. So, like, Addie escaped it, but Marcus, he did not. So he was actually stuck there longer with the other experiments and being stuck with Tony, which is what helped develop the story more of him becoming one of those few experiments. Because he was the first successful experiment where he couldn't remember anything of his past and only obey orders. And that was basically the major goal for Tony. He wanted to make sure the experiments could not go against him after Abby, Reaper, Leon, and the rest of the group were able to escape. And it's pretty sad though, because Marcus never asked for it. He was just doing a job and he fell in love with an experiment. But in the end, it cost him his life. And now he, honestly, even still now, he doesn't remember much of his past. I mean, he remembers a little bit now, but even then, it's still a grand mystery. And that can be taunting. Because for Abby, it's like she still is in love with Marcus, but at the same time, she needs to remind herself that this is not the same man she once knew before she had escaped it. But in the end, it does get better, like I said in the first video. It does get better. They have a family and such. They're happily married, and yeah. So I think this is the end for this video. As you can see, we have created our Marcus character. I do really like how these turn out. I wish I did a little bit better with the hair, but you know, your greatest critique is yourself. But I do really like how it turned out. He seems pretty cool. I'm gonna put his name here. And of course, we're gonna sign. That way no one can steal my art. But yeah, I think that is the completion of Marcus. I hope you've liked this. I hope you enjoy my rambling of lore and random stuff. And yeah, this was very fun to do. I hope to do more videos of this as I've been doing a little. And I can't wait to see what holds us next. So join us next time for next Wednesday going over Lizzie and Skylar. Anyway, have a good day all, and I will see you later. Bye!